Number cakes are very popular for birthdays, but instead of the original version made with sugar cookies, I'm going to show you how to use cake. I started by whipping up a batch of my perfect chocolate cake batter. Of course, you can use any flavour for these cakes. For 2 layers of a quarter-sheet cake, which makes 2 numbers of 3 layers each, I used enough batter for a 6-inch cake. Line your baking pans with parchment paper to give your numbers more support later in the process. After the cakes cool, chill them for 30 minutes in the freezer to make them easier to carve into numbers. While the cakes are chilling, prepare your buttercream. For 2 numbers with 3 layers each, you'll need about half a batch of my 4-minute buttercream. I'm using peanut butter buttercream by mixing 1/4 cup of peanut butter into my buttercream. Add milk or cream until your frosting is smooth and easy to stir, but still holds its shape. This will pipe perfectly. Fill a piping bag with frosting. I'm using a round tip, but you can play around with different star or open star tips for a different look. Now sketch out your numbers. Use a piece of paper the size of your cake pan and fold it into 3 parts, or however many numbers you're going to cut out of your sheet cake. Then when you sketch your numbers within the folds of the paper, you know they'll fit onto your cake. Cut out your numbers and place them on a chilled cake, cutting around them with a serrated knife. Don't worry about how the surface of your cake looks, because it's going to be covered with frosting soon. Keeping the number cakes on parchment paper makes them easier to move from the drying rack to the freezer, and from the freezer to your cake board. Arrange your first layer of each number on a cake board, using a few dollops of frosting to secure them to the board. Now use your piping bag to pipe little dollops of frosting on each number. It looks best if you align your dollops in rows, but of course if your numbers curve, like the top of my 2, you'll need more dollops on the outer edge of the curve. If your dollops aren't forming nice clean peaks because the frosting is breaking off before the tip of the dollop, you'll need to add more liquid to your frosting. After piping your first layer of dollops, place the second layer of each number on top. Now pipe on another layer of dollops. If you're finding this tutorial useful, please subscribe to my channel for new cake decorating tutorials every week. Place your final layers of cake on top. At this point, you can tidy up your cake board by brushing away any crumbs using a pastry brush. Pipe on your final layer of dollops, and then comes the fun part: decorating! I'm starting by sprinkling on some gold glitter, and now I'm adding every type of peanut butter chocolate I could find, with a few fresh flowers to make the cake more celebratory. It's important to decorate immediately after piping the dollops, while the frosting is still sticky, so the chocolates are easy to place and they stick to the frosting. I'm finishing with gold sugar pearls, placing them individually because my frosting has already set. Store your cake in an airtight container like a cake caddy. If you're transporting it, I recommend putting it in the freezer for about an hour first, so it's firm for the drive. And there it is, my finished number cake. This is obviously perfect for a 21st birthday, but also is a whimsical idea for someone older who would love to be 21 again. If you follow this tutorial, please tag British Girl Bakes on social media so I can see your creation.